seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Radiant team ban.
Alright, welcome back, and I forgot to unmute my microphone. I apologize. So all of the things I said about these teams, completely unheard. Good game. So, one thing... so the Venomants are taken out again. Probably just a hero that Reborn hate to play against. And they did great last game. I think they almost got a little ahead of themselves, Ursa especially. But Shadow Fiend and Darkseer played exceptionally well. I actually would say those two are the MVPs of that game for Reborn, and for ST it has to be their Phoenix player, who just had an outstanding game, but unfortunately once BKBs came out he lost a lot of his usefulness. So ST still haven't taken out their first ban, Invoker's still there to be banned. I could see a Shadow Fiend or Darkseer ban as well. Those heroes were instrumental in Reborn Dominion taking the game. I'm actually kind of... I guess I'm not really surprised that a hero such as Enchantress was ignored. But yeah, and the Invoker ban, that's typical. But I assume we'll start to see more of her in this league once it kind of trickles down, because once, you know, a big tournament happens where all the professional teams, like a major for example, then there's this trickle down system. So it's oh, it's like so completely irrelevant to all of what I just said, but basically the gist of that was once the big tournaments happen, it will trickle down and it'll start getting picked in this level. But I just get STFU is a polite... Oh, I get their name now. It's STFU. Oh. Okay, anyways. So, first pick, going to Reborn Dominion this time. Gyrocopter's still available, Darkseer's still available, but they go right back to the Shadow Shaman, who also served them pretty well last game. And I'm curious to see what ST at this time. Maybe they'll start with a little less telling pick than, say, the Phoenix. I think that was actually kind of a draft mistake. They picked up a Phoenix early, and I don't know, the Ursa kind of actually counters Phoenix decently, at least for the first 15-ish minutes, when all it takes is 4 hits to kill the egg. But they did reveal pretty early that their draft was going to be very magic damage heavy, and I think they probably could have used a Queen of Pain over a Shadow Fiend, but that's all in the past. You know, it's not really much point talking about what they could have done last game in terms of drafting. I think a lot of it had to do with their play as well, but they did show a lot of fight. They didn't play they didn't play badly. It's just they got outplayed, and I think they missed their window. They had this time frame of like, okay, Darkseer doesn't have Blink, there's no BKBs on their heroes yet, Aegis is down. They needed to make as much happen in that time, in that like 5-6 minute window, as they possibly could have, but they failed to do so, taking a couple bad fights, and honestly a lot of those fights could be attributed to really good play from the Darkseer. So here's Jakiro, another hero that's really good at stopping pushes and really, really good at making pushes happen. So the Liquid Fire, this hero is absolutely just a headache to lane up against, and can cancel the Shaman Shackle from really far away. I think this is a decent pick. They can play it as the off lane, they could play it as their support, so definitely a decent pick. And so they pick up both their supports unless the Jakiro is their off lane, and both teams just going right for their supports, and both duos have different strengths in their own right. I actually think Reborn Dominion have better kill potential with a Wave of Terror, Shackle, Magic Missile, Hex. That's a very, very lengthy amount of control. But STFU have a lot of AoE and a lot of damage from their supports. The Shadow Shaman's damage is decent but reliant on the wards, but Dual Breath, Liquid Fire, Ice Path, plus Maledict and Death Ward really huge damage coming out from STFU, and that's definitely something to be worried about if you're Reborn Dominion, although I think in the laning phase, Shaman and Venge are probably better heroes. So there's the Faceless Void banned out, and this hero has resurged a little bit in popularity in the North American competitive scene, but more importantly, it combos beautifully with Witch Doctor, and actually the Chikiro as well. A Macro Pyre inside a Chronosphere could be devastating for your team, and it's easy setup for a follow-up Ice Path. And Tidehunter also taken out of the pool. Another AoE team. Like, Reborn are taking a lot of these AoE team fight ults out. There's no Guardian Angel, no Poison Nova, no Chrono, no Ravage. So they've definitely got like their supports are also very single target focused. So trying to force STFU into this single target fight where they could probably lose, they will very likely lose to Avenge and a Shadow Shaman, who have very good single target DPS, especially Vengeful Spirit, then it could be something that they're worried about. And they take out the Ember Spirit, which is a good play. They don't have very good ways to catch him, and it would be really annoying to play against one that does the Travels build, because then he just split push. He throws down a Remnant in like his mid lane or his base or whatever, travels to a lane, and then jumps back. So if you don't have a really, really good lockdown in the form of like a Bane or a Silencer, but then you have to expend Global, then Ember Spirit is very hard to deal with. So I really like the ban. The hero is also a very strong laner, and with Flame Guard could be difficult to bring down, especially for the Jakiro, although the Wish Doctor Deathward would cut through him. So they go for the Bristleback, a really tanky hero, but with minus armor already on the Vengeful Spirit, this could be troublesome, and he might be in trouble. And even more so, this Bristleback, this hero that you expect to be so tanky, is going to be paper against the Slardar and Venge. His base armor isn't terribly high, if I remember correctly, so definitely look for Reborn Dominion to take an early Roshan. This is going to be like, they could kill Rosh. Let's see, Slaughter hits 6, Venge has 2 ranks in Wave of Terror, and Shaman wards get dropped. Yeah, that Rosh is going to die really fast, and I think they might even be leaning towards like a Death Prophet, a hero that, mid hero that goes really, really well with all this minus armor. Her ghosts do physical damage, and here's a Chaos Knight, and I actually do like this pick a bit. It allows them to be more aggressive in their lanes, and if they do go for another tri-lane, which I think is pretty popular this season of AD2L, there's a lot of tri-laning going on, and then they can be really, really aggressive. And their early game, the thing is, yeah, and Reborn Dominion don't really have a good way to deal with the Phantasms. So, decent pick, can allow them to get a little aggressive a little earlier, whereas the Jakiro, Doctor, and Bristle don't really let you do that, because they have low duration control or very weak control in the case of Bristle. So this Chaos Knight will allow them to take fights early if they want to, or get kills in lane, which I think is what they're trying to do. So I think Reborn Dominion could really benefit from a Death Prophet. She would be or even a Shadow Fiend too. Death Prophet and Shadow Fiend would be fantastic heroes here. They scale. They love, the lower armor you have against the Death Prophet, the more damage your spirits do, and they actually go Juggernaut, which is another good pick here. Omni Slash. The spin means he will be able to completely ignore this Jakiro for the most part. Although Bristle and Witch Doctor are okay against him, Death Ward doesn't care about Blade Fury, Quill Spray, but this Bristle is going to have such a hard time surviving against this Venge and this Slardar. That's really scary. And Shadow Fiend taken out of the pool, and I think that was a very good ban from STFU. This hero would go great in Reborn's draft, and not just that, but they played it very well last game. I think both heroes looking for their mid again. I think if I were Reborn, I'd want to take out, say, yeah, Viper's pretty good. Another one of those early heroes, but an early mech carrier. They could ball up with the Jakiro with Liquid Fire, Voodoo Restoration, and Death Ward, and then say like a Viper with mech. They could just start running down your lanes before you're able to come online and stop them. I think Queen of Pain would be pretty good here. She's, for STFU that is, good in lane, hard to kill, although they do have lots of control for her, so perhaps not. Maybe something like a Razor, another tanky early game hero, fills a lot of the same roles as Viper.
Reserve time.
There's also... He's okay against Jugs. You can just leash him and he suddenly doesn't do any damage with his right click. So I actually really like Razor for STFU. But they go for Lycan, so their mid hero...
Dire team pick.
It's kind of hard to tell, but if I had to guess, I'd say Bristle, and then you have the CK with the Jakiro or Doctor, and then the Lycan with the Jakiro or Doctor, unless it's... That's a pretty peculiar pick, but it does allow them to contest Roshan up against this Reborn lineup, and not like... I don't think they could... I actually... So Tiny, it's an okay pick. I think Death Prophet would have been a lot better, but another one of those bursty, kill you before you're able to breathe kind of heroes that RD have really been going for. Alright, so this game we have Slayer on Slardar, Legion playing Tiny, Olive Garden playing Vengeful Spirit, RGB on the Shadow Shaman, and Cocoa Puffs playing the Juggernaut. And on the side of STFU, Levexis is playing Chaos Knight, McKnight is playing Witch Doctor, McNuggets playing the Lycan, Beatrix on the Jakiro, and Kanomi on the Bristleback. So a little bit of role swapping here. McNuggets played support last game, and now he's on this Lycan. So I guess I could see him mid. It's another, you're against a melee hero, so it would be okay. But Tiny will be very happy with this if he does go mid. Although with the Quelling Blade, he should be able to last hit up against him pretty easily. It looks like both teams are trying to poise for a fight up at this room, or at least a little bit of a skirmish. 4 heroes from both teams up here, or actually 5 from ST. And I'm not sure who has better fight. Witch Doctor and Jakiro at level 1 are pretty scary supports, and the Chaos Knight with his stun and Lycan with Howl, that's a lot of bonus damage for his team. We'll see what happens, and they're definitely looking. It definitely looks like it's going to turn into a fight, and they're so close together that. And okay, so there's 1 stun, 2. They do miss the ice path, but Vengeful Spirit goes down. But Juggernaut gets his bounty rune and might actually go down here because of Quill Sprays. Yes, that was pretty bad for Reborn Dominion. They did get that bounty rune, but the kills there. So the kill for Witch Doctor is pretty significant because he has levels and will be able to get his boots like at a decent time. But this Bristleback is going to be really happy with how it turned out. And dying at level 1 like that isn't awful, but it's really beneficial for ST, who I think have weaker lanes, to get kills like that. I don't think anything comes of that. There's no... They'd have to walk too far, and this bot lane is going to be basically CK versus Slardar, and I think Slardar's content with this. It'd have to be a really long duration Chaos Bolt for him to die. And Tiny shouldn't worry about these wolves. He's a stout shield, so the damage is pretty low. Yeah, he's just going to kill these wolves, and it's a tri-lane up here, but forcing the Shadow Shaman to stay so close up in this lane to be soaking XP like this is really not what you want to be happening. I think he should just make a couple stacks, pull, but the pull camp is blocked by STFU. They can still pull through though, and they can still pull from this camp, and there's a shackle, and this Bristle could very well be dead, and in fact I think he is. And now Jakiro's out of position, but Venge is level 2, she has a mango, and she didn't eat it in time, and Jakiro's going to be able to walk away, but this tri-lane is working out really well for Reborn Dominion already. This Juggernaut, level 2. I would like to see him go the Max Blade Fury build so they can fight sooner. I actually really dislike the Battle Fury build. I think it takes too long to come online and just isn't really worth it. In some games, I guess it's okay if you know you have to go late, but in this situation, I would really like to see Max spin into an SNY. Lycan Howls, probably for farm, but Venge rotating mid, and they might find this kill on this Lycan, but he is fairly tanky, and Venge has to be careful. The illusions and Lycan Wolves might just kill her. But the tower, and she barely gets out, but the damage over time added to the Lycan Wolves actually killing her. That's a really good kill for this Lycan. And He's going to be very happy getting that gold. Courier's walking, just bringing a ward to the Shaman, and disastrous rotation, and he missed the Ice Path again, and he does have Chaos Rift, but chooses not to use it. I think it's a bit of a misplay. I think what they should just do is wait for the Chaos Knight stun, the sure thing stun, and then do the Ice Path. That's probably going to be a lot easier to land. And Bristle's now up here by himself, and still level 3, and at 3 minutes, it's pretty. You're probably sitting happy with that if you're the offlaner. He has died once though, but again, it was at the very start of the game, so he didn't really miss out on any creeps. See if he gets any farm here. It's very dangerous for him to go out up against this team. They got the Shackle, they've got the Wave of Terror, the Spin. He would just melt pretty damn quickly up against this tri-lane. And although they are soaking up a lot of XP, let's check out the last hits, and I should have pulled that up a little bit sooner, but Lycan farming decently, but still getting out-farmed by the Tiny, and the Juggernaut farming very well. Chaos Knight not farming as well as he would want to, I think. But, and he's, okay, so he's level 4. It's like Vengeful Spirit and Bristle just looking at each other. I don't think this Bristle can die here like this. Sword here scouting out the pole, so Slardar probably able to sit on the wings and get some XP. Unfortunate they missed that by just a couple hundred units. It's like something's happening, man. No, just some farming going on. Lycan, the Max Wolves is definitely the play. Those things are really, really powerful, and I actually think this mid Lycan was a pretty good choice. I think, and as I'm talking, this Bristle should be fine. There's a rotation coming. Venge opts not to use the Magic Missile, which was the smart choice. But anyways, Lycan up against Tiny will be a farm trade. And Lycan probably gonna go. Let's see, what's he have right now? What's he bringing to him right now? The boots. Okay, so he's probably not gonna go a bottle. Oh wait, never mind. He has a bottle. But I'm gonna guess Vlad's, Treads, maybe Necrobook, and then they just push because they have the Jakiro to do it. Bristleback almost going down. Will they be able to get him though? The Bristleback doing a lot of work, and Venge not quite able to get the stun. She scouts out this Lycan. He does have his ultimate, but with Magic Missile, will they be able to actually catch? Will they be able to actually stop him from chasing? He's using his shapeshift and going right on this Venge, and she's probably not long for this world. Yeah, she's gone. And Lycan has, and I think Juggernaut needs to be careful. Lycan, when shapeshift, is very strong, and these wolves, the cleave. Oh, Lycan looks like he's running back in, and there's a catch just to catch him, and Lycan gets the double kill. So a fantastically timed and really, really, really good rotation for this Lycan. And Tiny is just grabbing a bounty rune, but still getting some farm and trying to put some pressure on this mid lane. But this Lycan is going to be very, very happy with how that went. Goldgraph slightly in favor, not really worth looking at right now, I don't think. Witch Doctor scouted out by that Obs. With Liquid Fire though, they're going to be able to pressure this bot lane pretty hard, forcing out Fortification. And thanks to Liquid Fire, the attack speed of the tower was really, really low. Looks like they really want to dive here. This Bristle needs to be very careful. He's scouted out by an Obs, and if this kill fails though, it's a really bad. Yeah, and Tiny doesn't end up getting anything, and he just left his lane for nothing. But Slaughter does get to go hit level 6. He has amp damage now, and this bot tower is gone. There's Howl has been popped. There's Lycan Wolf. There's a Jakiro. I'm really glad to see STFU utilizing their draft properly. They're trying to take objectives as early as they can, and that's what they need to do in this team comp. Bristleback also level 5 up here at top, and he's got to be pretty happy with that. I mean, he's up against a pretty tough tri-lane. Looks like Chaos Knight opted to go for a Midas, which I guess is okay. I mean, actually, yeah, I like the Midas a lot, and the reason is not even the gold. It's he needs level 11. Level 1 ult is weak. The 1 Phantasm is not good. So I think the Midas will help him get that level 11 quickly and be able to make some strong plays and actually contribute in team fights with his ultimate. Looks like Vengeful Spirit really wants something, but will they be able to get it? Witch Doctor's not quite in position to help, and this looks like a very dead Jakiro. Yup, just tossed up and splat. Good kill for the Tiny. Lycan now is double damage, so I wonder if with his ultimate he thinks about Roshan, and another item he could go is actually Medallion of Courage. I think would be pretty good on him. Oh, Slardar doesn't know Lycan's coming, and with this DD rune he could be just done. Yeah, Lycan's just... Oh man, this Slardar just got eaten alive by this Lycan, and Tiny might be out of position too. There's no tower there, and this Lycan does so much damage with this DD rune, but does Tiny... Oh, this Lycan is doing so much work, and despite his combo, not quite enough damage. Lycan TP's back to base, and this Lycan is off to a fantastic start, and even though his farm isn't very good, he's gotten so many kills and just created so much space for his teammates that he's a huge asset to them. And it looks like Juggernaut should be okay. He's got rank 3 in spin, and here's the amp damage, but the crush misses, so they may not be able to find this return kill. And you've got to be careful. Witch Doctor is rotated, but now there's an ice path in the way, and ward immediately canceled. Good crush from Slardar, and with the team arriving, this looks like it could be a really bad fight for SC. Lycan's on his way, but is it too late? He has no shapeshift. He gets stunned up and probably just gonna walk away from this. He's got to be careful. He is amped. This Juggernaut has to be careful. These Lycan Wolves hit really hard, and with their new maim, we saw it killed Venge earlier. Lycan, let's see, I'm gonna actually guess that's a BKB. Yes, that's a BKB unless he goes for S and Y, which I don't actually think is good. I think the BKB will allow him to stand in these fights, not worry about the crush, not worry about the avalanche, and just tear people apart. The shapeshift provides so much damage to this hero, and same with Feral Impulse. He scales well with items, but isn't reliant on items to do damage. And all the while, this Chaos Knight farming freely bot lane, he's not contested at all, and he's catching up to the Juggernaut. Looks like a lot of heroes for Reborn Dominion up here, and this wastes a lot of time, and if they're not going to engage, I think they need to rotate out, because their towers are going to be pressured across the map. And Chaos Knight inching ever closer to that ever so critical level 11. Venge needs to be careful. She TP'd very far forward, and luckily the ice path missed, so she did not get eaten up very quickly by that Lycan. Very low health, very squishy hero. Lycan's shapeshifting. I wonder what he's after. He's trying to run top, and looks like he wants to try to return a kill for his team, and oh, he might just dive. But we've got Tiny coming in, and the Tiny stun could be all it takes. The Lycan Wolves, the little wolves, just doing plenty of work, and Juggernaut might be in trouble too, but Lycan's now kind of out of position. He's got to be careful. He eat through the trees, and Jugs has Omni Slash, but if he uses it, it's good defensive Omni Slash, but not enough, and he ends up dying. But this could be a huge kill if Slardar gets this, but unfortunately it doesn't look like that's going to happen, and Lycan might be able to get away with murder here. McNugget's just playing an absolutely fantastic game, but good ice path to zone out this Slardar, and really good death ward. Oh yeah, this was a really great play from STFU this game, and they're really just running all over Reborn Dominion, and I don't know if Reborn Dominion have a way to just stop this. And with the Chaos Knight just free farming at bot lane, they have to be worried, because before long he's going to come out with really big items and just be an absolute monster to deal with, because Reborn Dominion have really low AoE, so these illusions are going to just do work in team fights. Looks like Juggernaut's actually opting for the Battle Fury build, and I think he needs to be able to fight early. Really good ice path, but will it be enough to save their Bristle? It actually might be. Very impressive, but it looks like they might claim Jakiro as a consolation prize, and yes, they did miss out the big kill on the Bristleback. Good ice path and good cast from the Witch Doctor to save him, but they do get a kill in return. Now Chaos Knight at the top of the farm. Let's see net worth. Unsurprisingly, it's CK and Lycan. Chaos Knight looks like he's going for an armlet, possibly a Helm of the Dominator, but armlet feels much more likely. Is this Chaos Knight also the highest level hero in the game? Yes, he is, and once he hits that level 11, these Phantasms are going to be terrifying. Bristle looks like he's going for the standard Vanguard, very popular item on this hero, and Vengeful Spirit throwing out a Wave of Terror, misses the Lycan with it though. Slaughter just trying to farm, but now Chaos Knight has hit level 11 and has his Helm of the Dominator. This hero, he is very, very far ahead for 11 minutes into the game, for 13 minutes into the game I should say. Lycan also pretty close to his BKB, and that's going to be another big pickup. Bristleback finishing Vanguard, they're going to have a very hard time killing him now, but with Wave of Terror plus amp damage, I think they can do it. Reborn Dominion do have a very strong draft, and Blink Dagger is now on the Slardar, so we could start seeing them able to take some of these kills and make some of these plays they weren't able to make before. Well-placed Observer Ward scouting out the Slardar TP. Witch Doctor definitely dead. Squish! Juggernaut very close to his Battle Fury despite dying 3 times, so impressive amount of farm from him and impressive that he's able to come back. I would actually really like to see Reborn Dominion go for Roshan. They have 3 points in Wave of Terror and they have amp damage ready, so definitely something they could look to do very, very quickly with their lineup. Juggernaut is very good at killing Roshan and spinning out, and Shaman Ward's dropped up here, but they don't do very much damage to Bristle thanks to his Vanguard, and he might just get to farm them up. This tower looks like it might not even fall, but fortification is available for STFU, so they might be able to get the deny. But it looks like, oh, Bristle does get the deny. Well played. And Reborn Dominion just having a hard time finding anything on this map. And now with this army of Chaos Knight illusions, this tower is going to melt. Yeah, with the Howl plus that, yeah, this tower is gone. And Juggernaut only, I believe that's like 60, 70 gold away from Battle Fury, so still decently timed, but that will be his only item, and he's still very squishy. It's like STFU trying to take over the Dire jungle, and Reborn Dominion their Juggernaut really needs to be careful. STFU are out for blood, and I think they're going to be able to get him. Rotations are going to be too slow. The Witch Doctor ult dedicated, and another tower taken for STFU, and not just that, but an easy, quick kill, and a big kill at that. This puts Juggernaut very, very far behind his Battle Fury, and what was going to be a decently timed Battle Fury is now actually fairly slow. Looks like Venge is probably going to go for a Aki Ring. I think that's pretty good. The armor is good, the stats are good. Fortification popped, unfortunately for STFU at the same time as Howl, so they have to back off, and they don't have Howl for 40 seconds. They scout out the Venge, and she's going to get taken down pretty quickly, but a good crush. A really good cast, though, and Tiny gets stunned out before he can fully combo. He's maledicted, so he needs to be really careful. Cocoa Puffs, Omni Slash not finding any kills, and just getting taken down so quickly. Just the damage from STFU is absolutely incredible, and the wards get farmed up. And here's the crush. They're trying to find that kill, but it's going to cost them in the end. Do they actually find... They do find their Lycan, but at what cost? They're going to lose their Tiny. Or are they? Will the Tiny be able to make it? If the Wolves get one more slow, it could be too late. No, they managed to get away. Tiny's able to blink, and a decent defense from... But, oh, Jakiro dies to Wolves, so I guess that's okay. Really good fight for Reborn Dominion. 4 heroes lost on both sides, but and the 2 things that are important for both teams is that Tiny did not die and Chaos Knight did not die. Chaos Knight is still the furthest ahead here on the map. It's probably going to be his Manta style. He's probably just going to wait for his yeah. And a slight efficiency thing I think he could do a little bit better is At this point, he probably doesn't... Actually, he still wants level 16, so never mind. But late in the game, you can use your Midas on the small creep and farm at the big creep to maximize gold gain. I think it was really unfortunate Lycan didn't have his BKB in that fight, and I think it was a little greedy to fight without it. It would have been a really huge pickup for him and probably would have saved his life. Juggernaut finally has his Battle Fury on the way, and that'll accelerate his farm a little bit, and Tiny just doing what Tiny does and eating up their Witch Doctor, but STFU trying to get some return kills, and his Chaos Knight just absolutely just devouring anyone who comes close to him. But will he go down here? He is getting kind of low, but with Bristleback giving him some backup and a good 2-second stun, they might be able to get him. And now Jugs has to worry. That crit just does so much damage, and just a triple kill for this Chaos Knight. And it's almost one of the situations where he's going to be too big to fail if they're not careful. Slardar waiting on the wings, trying to get a good crush, but I think this is too greedy. I don't think he should do this. He has no backup and no Shaman Wards just yet. This is really greedy. And yes, he might be in trouble if that stun comes out. Good Hex from the Shaman defensively, but so it doesn't look like any kills are going to come from that, and Chaos Knight needs to get back. He's down to -4 armor. Yes, -4. Math. The creep wave is pushing in at top for STFU, so at least Reborn and Minion have some of the lanes pushed in. Slardar looking to continue forward and maybe find something for his team, but I doubt it. Chaos Knight has the Illusion Rune and posturing a little bit as if he wants to go back in.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
The Shaman's going for Aether Lens, and does he have it? Did he? Okay, no, he's not. He's close-ish. This Juggernaut still playing the catch-up game. A whole 4K behind the Chaos Knight and 2.2K behind this Lycan. This Chaos Knight is just so far ahead. Almost 3K ahead of the Tiny, too. He's got his Yasha, and very, very soon he's going to have his Manta style. Slardar going for Force Staff, I believe. That's a pretty standard item. Mostly goes for Vlad's. Both good items here. And I think they need to get... The Vlad's is really beneficial because it'll help the Juggernaut catch up a little bit. Like the 20% damage aura will help, and the armor and lifesteal will help him in the team fights. So he'll survive a little bit longer, but it might not be enough because Lycan's going to be tearing him apart. That Shapeshift, the critical damage is huge. Amp damage on the Bristleback. He's having a very good game. Going for Octarine Core. We're going to see the Volvo truck Bristle in game. Wonder if he'll actually go for a Guardian Greaves as well. I would actually really like to see him get Guardian Greaves. Looks like STFU grouping up and getting ready to push again. But Reborn Dominion are positioned very well to not get picked off and to retaliate if their towers are being pushed. Manta Style now finished on this Chaos Knight. He's massive, leagues ahead of this Tiny, and even further ahead of this Juggernaut, who the Bristleback is almost caught up with. I think this is the time to worry if you're Reborn Dominion. STFU have a lot of momentum, and I don't see a lot of ways for them to get stopped. I think it's a good time for one of these teams to try to go for Roshan, but STFU trying to claim all the T2 towers before they do anything else, and I think that's a good play. It'll further accelerate their advantage, and they already have a pretty significant lead. Slardar's TP top, and Reborn Dominion are looking good. Lycan Wolf to scout. Ooh, Witch Doctor gets caught and quickly, ooh, maybe not quickly blown up. He manages to walk away. Probably a miscommunication between the Tiny and the Slardar, and Crush gets missed. And unfortunately, that means Witch Doctor is able to get away, and that reveals to STFU that Reborn Dominion know that they're there. this Lycan has been using his wolves very efficiently. He's scouted out that they were coming into the jungle, and again, just McNuggets having a fantastic game, and Reborn Dominion doing the best that they can. Cocoa Puffs trying his damnedest to catch up. He made such a good game last game, and this is bad. He could be caught out here. The right-click damage is so much. Magic Immunity might not help him. Oh, unfortunate. The good defensive swap, but is it going to be enough? The Healing Word comes out, and he gets pulled back and instantly blown up by the Chaos Knight. It was a good swap, but just not enough. This Chaos Knight is just so far ahead, and I just dread to think what he gets next and what's going to happen when he gets level 16, when he has 3 or 4 Phantasms just bearing down on you and your towers. The Lycan ult has ended. Howl is on cooldown, so this push will be a little bit slower, but... And Jakiro actually missing Liquid Fire. That's kind of funny, but... So this push slowed down a little bit. But thanks to the Liquid Fire, and the attack speed of the tower will be so slow that their creeper will be there soon. A good double stun from the Tiny, but he can't go in on this. He will die very, very quickly. Looks like this is going to be a lane of racks for STFU, and they've been playing a fantastic game and are definitely focused on let's win this as fast as we can. Oh, unfortunately, Slardar missed his crush, but the stun is on such a short cooldown, it might not matter. One lane of racks down in favor of STFU, and if you're Reborn Dominion, this is something to be scared of. You have only okay wave clear, and with that lane constantly being pushed in, then there's always a lane to worry about, because Lycan could go up there. He went Deso, so he's going for the I'm going to kill all of your towers build before you're able to rotate. Sorry, the kill all your towers before you're able to rotate build. But, and this Bristleback, very close to Octarine Core, only 400 gold away. Chaos Knight sitting at 3k. He could go for a Basher, he could go for a McNuggets caught out. He has to BKB and a Bash, but the good cast bounce just stunning both the Tiny and the Slardar, and now it just turns from what would have been an easy pickoff into 2 quick kills. Absolutely fantastic play from McKnight. And then Chaos Knight just... Wait. Chaos Knight killed Tiny? Is Chaos Knight bot? Yes, he was. Oh, so he's going for Heart, and I don't see any way they can kill him. And honestly, at this point, I think it's up to STFU to throw the game for Reborn Dominion to take a win. So if I were Reborn Dominion, the only real way this Chaos Knight is just so far ahead of your core is double the net worth of your Juggernaut, and now Bristleback is ahead of your Jugs. I'm having a hard time. I think they need to smoke and hope to find the Lycan or the Chaos Knight by themselves, get Wave of Terror, get amp damage, and kill him as quickly as possible. And it's going to be a very fast Roshan with Lycan plus Nasal Goo. Just a very quick Roshan, and it's probably going to go on the Chaos Knight. Yes, they might be able to get a kill on him once thanks to all their minus armor, but I don't see a way they can kill him twice. Now with Jakiro bringing something to him, probably just wards or smoke. Oh yeah, he's bringing the ward and the Desolators on the courier for the Lycan, so this next fight, if they can defend, it might just be delaying the inevitable. I hate to say it, and Reborn Dominion just played so well last game, and just getting walked all over this game, and there doesn't seem like a lot that they can do. Almost a 20k gold lead in favor of STFU this game, and they just can't kill their cores. Bristleback just showing no fear. Chaos Knight just looking to fight. And this is how they could throw. The Chaos Knight getting caught, barely getting to use that Aegis, and instantly canceled the Witch Doctor Death Ward, and now it's too late. They're just getting blown up, but Chaos Knight, now with his ult out, they're just eating. This Tiny just dissolves! And once Chaos Knight comes out of this, he might just get even another kill, but thankfully there's a first hit bash and a magic missile, and they're not able to do it, and this is what I was saying. STFU getting a little ahead of themselves. I think they probably should have just gone for the objectives, and instead they get really greedy and try to take some fights, but they fail to take them, and that cost them a 8k gold swing. A massive shift in momentum here, and the Chaos Knight just a little out of position. posturing himself a little too aggressively and losing his Aegis before even able to do anything, really. Lycan getting a Vlad's, I think that's a good pickup, even this much. I think almost every team should have a Vladimir's offering at 30 minutes into the game. The stats that Aura gives you are just fantastic, and no exception here. The Switch Doctor finishing Glimmer Cloak and going for his Ags. Pretty standard. Quite a ways from the Ags, but I think all eyes are on this Bristleback, and once Chaos Knight gets a heart, it's going to be difficult for them to bring him down. Even with 4 people bearing down on him, he tore them up. He killed the Tiny. Juggernaut tossing out a spin to farm. He's going to SNY now. He's not that far off it, and I think that's pretty good. It is a little late for the item, but he needs something. He just needs something. So let's just take a quick look at this jungle here. Ags finished on Tiny right before that last fight. I should have called that out, but I didn't. Jugs at his Yasha now. Yes, Jugs has Yasha now. A smoke up from STFU. Will they be able to find anything? They see the Slardar. And it looks like he's going to sprint away. And they're looking in the trees here. If Reborn Dominion aren't careful, they could get caught out, and that could be game. Let's check buyback status, because this is when it matters. Buyback available only on the Tiny. And Slardar blinking very unfortunately right into the middle of 3 heroes. An Ice Pad catching him and a Malediction. Good swap, good defensive swap. The Witch Doctor ult comes out. He is Glimmer Caped, but the Avalanche to cancel. Chaos Knight's not quite... Lycan's not in this fight, and a good crush saving the Slardar, but this is definitely going to be one lane of Rax, and Reality Rift is cooling down. Lycan's running around inside his BKB, wreaking havoc in the back line, and only the Venge goes down, but a good defensive swap to save the Slardar, which is definitely the more important kill. Reborn Dominion might look to re-engage, but they have no Omni Slash, and good 2-man crush, but this is going to be punished right away. Tiny's on the Witch Doctor, but will they even be able to get him? Manta Style is cooling down, so Chaos Knight might be looking to re-engage. He has enough gold for his heart. He just needs the recipe to have it brought to him. Lycan will always bring down that tower, but Lycan is caught in the end, so it's not entirely free, but they did lose another lane of Rax and a tier 3 tower, so SCFU finding the objectives. A really big kill, actually. That was a lot of gold for the Tiny killing that Lycan. Wow. But Tiny going for Assault Cuirass as his next item. Witch Doctor about 1,500 gold away from his Aghanim Scepter, which at this point is just overkill. Chaos Knight has Heart on the way. Bristleback going in Assault Cuirass as well, possibly a Shiva's Guard, but I would like to see the Assault Cuirass, more building damage, and the minus armor to help them bring down the enemy heroes a little bit faster. Hex instantly kills that Chaos Knight illusion, but they're still going to lose their bot tower. It's a T1. A little good boost of gold that Reborn Dominion desperately need. Cocoa Puffs finally finishing his SNY. Probably had it before that last fight. Not really sure what he's going to go next. A Basher might not be bad. And this Venge is food. Just Chaos Knight doing work this game. Still 5 and 6k ahead of the cores on the side of Reborn Dominion. Vlad's picked up on Slardar, and that's probably the right choice. You need that little bit of boosted damage. That might help your Tiny and your Jugs a little bit. But STFU know what they want. They want their Rax, and there's not a lot stopping them. The Vengeful Spirit's down. There's no mechanism. There's no swap. But the Tiny doing great damage to these heroes in the backline. The stealthed up Witch Doctor unleashing a Death Ward. Cocoa Puffs timing his ult very well to dodge this Lycan and bring him down. Tiny forced to buyback, and just look at this. This Chaos Knight just absolutely tearing these heroes apart. His illusions were all killed. So now with no illusions, he's actually in danger of dying. Juggernaut on the chase. And Vengeful Spirit, good swap getting the Chaos Knight back into the fight, but they did expend a lot of buybacks for that. No buybacks on the Jugs or the Tiny for some time, and another good kill for the Tiny, and a good base defense from STFU. Juggernaut timing his ultimate, absolutely just great timing, dodging the last hit the Lycan needed to kill him, and bringing down the Lycan with the ult. So they're going to take another tier 1, and is it possible Reborn Dominion are coming back, but they have to play pretty much perfectly in order to come back. If they lose one fight, they lose those racks and it's Megas, and their lineup isn't that good at defending against Megas. I guess you got the Tiny and the Juggernauts with Cleave, but I'm hard-pressed to say they come back, and item progression has hardly slowed down on the heroes of STFU, so we'll see. I think it's just misplay coming from them, and they might need to choose their fights a little more carefully. Like this right here, this Jakiro just instantly blown up. And now Bristle's in trouble, but he's just so tanky, and oh, 2 TPs on the way, but this Lycan is just two-shotting that Shadow Shaman, tearing this guy apart, and Tiny doesn't have Blink, but he is forced to safety by Slardar, and he opts to not chase in the end. However, the BKB is down to 5 seconds, and that could be crucial in these fights. This Lycan could get locked down and kited through his ult. However, you have no buyback on Juggernaut, and you have no Shaman wards. Oh, well, Shaman has buyback and wards are off cooldown now. Boots of Travel on this Chaos Knight. He's TPing into the fight. But without Juggernaut, will they be able to make this defense? Let's see how these supports on the side of STFU position themselves. If they position themselves poorly, then it could be the end. Magic Missile and Hex onto the Bristle, but he's just eating that control for the more important heroes like Chaos Knight. Good Death Ward coming out. They have nothing to cancel it yet. But the Death Ward, it takes out the Vengeful Spirit, but Macro Pyre brings down Shadow Shaman and Mega Creeps for STFU, and this looks bad. Tiny just getting torn apart by this Chaos Knight. He hits so hard, and Reality Rift is up, and there's no escaping. No buyback available on Tiny, and it looks like this is GG. Is the Fountain even safe? Yes, Olive Garden able to escape, but really fantastic showing from STFU, and just dominating this game in complete control the entire time. So really good game from STFU. McNuggets playing a fantastic Lycan, and Levexis just dominating this game on his Chaos Knight. Left completely uncontested, which was a huge misplay from Reborn Dominion. That they should have been pressuring that hero constantly. They had pretty good aggressive supports and just an aggressive team with Slardar and Vengeful Spirit. I think they could have definitely afforded to kill this Chaos Knight a lot sooner, but when he got left able to free farm, he just jumped ahead of the enemy team in terms of gold and just walked all over them, dominating them, dying only twice in this 34-minute game. So I absolutely applaud STFU, and good games from both teams. They split the series 1-1, and Reborn Dominion definitely need to step up their game if they want to try to get enough points to qualify for the bye in the first week of the playoffs. And STFU, a team to look out for. They went 2-0 last week and 1-1 this week, and in Game 2, just dominating. So I hope you guys join me next week, as I hope you guys join me next time when I cast, and I really look forward to casting for these teams again. If you have any feedback, please leave some for me, and if you're watching on Twitch, please follow. I appreciate it. Thank you, and good night.